Huh? Huh. 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 Huh? Huh. Huh? Huh. Huh? Hmm. Uh-huh.
Today, we're going to be building ourselves a dappled forest house. Because 26.3 is right around the corner, it's at time that I start building in it. As you can see here, fully decorated, fully functional, and every individual part of the build is completely done. As you can see here, we have a lot going on, but we get to make use of poplar wood, cushions, wool stairs, and other fantastic features like that. So let's get right into it. To begin building, of course, you're going to need a dappled forest. It does not have to be crazy large like this one, but any fairly sized one will do. Then, remove all the trees from an area, but do not flatten it, unless it's especially bad. From there, find where you want to actually start building from, and then build a 9 wide area. However long you want, it can be decently long, but the exact number does not matter. Of course, this is a non-schematic based tutorial. You are free to interpret the instructions, however, to make your build better than mine. So we're going to have that area. Then, some amount of blocks inward, we're going to have a 16 block wide area here. It has to be an even number, but 16 was the smallest I could make it reasonably look good and symmetrical. Then I extended that part a little bit further back. Essentially, the side piece should be longer than the main wider piece at 16. So it should be almost like a sideways T. Then we want to make sure that we have enough room for everything. I end up having to expand this. And now we really choose the vibe of the build. I'm going to tell you this, no poplar doors. Instead, it's down between spruce and dark oak. Dark oak if you want something a bit more classy, while spruce for something more rustic. I'm going to go with spruce for this though, because I think that works better for the dappled forest vibe, but of course it's up to you. Then, I'm going to be building a front porch. As you can see, pale wood works very well here, but if you do not have it yet, then poplar works fine. Then, I added some tuff to this. I tried adding windows, they did not fit yet because I had not expanded the build to 16 yet. Then, we placed down some torches, and now we have a build. Notice the bottom block of the walls is sideways mangrove though. This is very important. If you do not have mangrove, then use poplar instead. And then, 3 blocks wide on the front piece here, you can see more mangrove. Use wood as needed, we do not want to ever see that red texture. So you can also see how the side piece is 1 block taller than the main piece. This is intentional. We're going to have stairs inside the house. And then the corners of the build, notice we have some mud bricks and spruce fences. This is intentional. And then we have some windows made of glass panes. You can make them stained, do not make them full blocks. And those pillars on the sides, make them wrap around the corners completely and make the corners of the build also mangrove. Right here, we can see how we can also decorate our windows using a combination of trapdoors and shelves. Use this for all of your builds if you want this specific idea. We can make it a little bit more advanced by adding some more shelves and trapdoors to the outside bit, which means the shape changes significantly. Then, for the bottom, I initially was resistant for including moss. I wanted to use the grass color, but I'm going to be honest, you need the green for contrast, so use moss for this. Or you can use green wool as well. So oak trapdoors in front, so that way we can see the green sides because we need that green contrast. And then we can wrap around this build with some more poplar. Hide shroom lights or other light blocks under this. Do not use torches, must be lanterns or some other bright block. And you can see how this is really coming together. We have the green wool, we have cushions of varying colors being the flowers, and of course those hidden lights. I use shroom lights in my builds because it's a simple block and you could get it quite easily for a light level 15 because torches are only 14. Then for the inside, you'll notice that you'll have to increase the height of your build if you make the ceiling too short. You need one block above all of your windows and then one block above that to be the floor. So essentially, we're going to have to increase the height of the build a little bit. Luckily, this is not super difficult. So once we have that, then we can really modify it, make the center window bigger, and add some spruce leaves going across it. I'm going to replace some of them with yellow poplar for accent reasons. And you notice how the trapdoors and shelves come together to make that giant center window. Now for the roof. And by the way, the front of the build, same thing as back, just build it the same. And then the sides, not super interesting, just a compressed version of the middle. I trust that you can design it. So we're going to be using deepslate as the edge here. It's going to go all across the build, arching above our windows here. And then you can see the center, how the big window goes so much higher. This is intentional because we're going to have the roof also go higher. And then this roof will be omnidirectional. As you can see here, it's a pretty simple thing, lots of deepslate. Pause if you want to take a look, and you can always ask questions. We go from the deepslate to stair to full block to stair, and then another set of stairs with full blocks on corners to make it more substantial. Then hide lights up here. More white level 15 stuff, and then hide it under carpets. Your best bet is pale moss carpet if you do have access for it. And then we could add a chimney if we want. I do not add one to mine, but if you do, bricks and terracotta, be sure to texture it. And then the side here, it's nothing super cool. I use some wildflowers though to act as the accent. And then we can place some red shrubs inside the cushions to act as plants. So we have the sides of the build, very simple. The one facing the second building is going to remain undecorated, simply because there's nothing to put there and I don't want to have a window there. So now, back entrance there, we can run straight through the build, and it's really coming out to be a house. Then, we want to maybe modify the block that the doors are actually on. Notice how the center of the build does jut out by one block. This is intentional to make it look better. And then, this porch, if you want to use pale on your interior, change the porch to stone bricks, because it's a bad idea to have the same interior floor and exterior floor. It makes it look weird. Then for the sides, nothing super interesting. The same kinds of stuff I did for the main building applies here. Be sure to add windows, and then for the long flat side of this, we're going to be essentially adding a shed. So be sure to leave room for that and do not place windows there. And now we can go inside and start our interior decorations. First and foremost, the ceiling though. And the ceiling is a good way to show if you're actually good at building. So let me show you how to actually be good. You can see here, stairs across the ceiling makes it look like I actually remembered it. And then we can have support beams running across. Although this is an incredibly simplistic ceiling, it is a functional one. However, we can do better. What about an X-shaped pattern? And then incorporate some bricks and a chandelier. And you can see this works splendid. We have a chiseled stone brick to hang the chandelier from, chain plus 5 spruce fences with torches on top, and then the X pattern. I also divide the living room. This section here will be our cartography room for later, so that way I can make my ARG. And then we have our seats here, cushions placed on 3 snow layers removed, replaced with slabs, so we have shorter cushions that can still be used. And then we have candles, decorations. Pretty much, here's a general rule of building. If you can count a 3x3 area on a wall and there's nothing there, you're not done decorating. Like there, that needs a painting. Or some shelves made of trapdoors, things like that. Then up here we have the bedroom, and you can imagine the bedroom is quite large and spacious. It can be a little bit difficult to fill up, but luckily it's not super important. A lot of the action happens down here. Don't forget to hide all of your important things. So we have a kitchen here, mostly decorational, we have storage, and we have brewing, along with everything else. And then, of course, the glazed terracotta carpets, along with concrete. Notice how I do that. We have our paintings, we have calcite with banners and tripwires to act as cabinets, and we have little herbs. Notice the cushions here, they were placed on a skull. The skull was removed and replaced by a dripstone point. That way, we have stools. Then, we can walk around, we can see it's all nicely decorated. This room still needs a little bit more, but the dark oak really sells that cartography vibe. And then we have empty maps on the walls. Essentially, you want to continue decorating this, bookshelves, carpet. Remember, glazed terracotta and concretes are your friend for decorating floors. And then the ceiling here. Notice how it's tough bricks along with that arched pattern. This is very good. Hide some lanterns there too. Then we have the photography room now complete. All I did was add a few more things to the shelves on the walls, and then a checkerboard carpet of green and green concrete. And then we can see we have a bedroom, lots of cabinets and shelves. I used a little bit of cinnabar, and the ceiling is safari themed, utilizing the new wool stairs and slabs. And then the bed, we have ourselves cushions to make it look a little bit different. So pause if you want to take a look at it. The bedroom is not super interesting, and it's kind of hard to describe, so I recommend just pausing and taking a look if you want to copy it. Then we're done with the actual house itself. We do need to do our exterior though. We have the stone bricks coming out with some tough bricks surrounding it, but eventually that path ends. Now we need to make an informal path, and this will go all across your biome and connect your varying structures, because this is meant to be a lived-in world, not just a showcase super flat. I do not like it when fellow building tutorial creators use super flats for fully structured builds. Then we can use varying blocks. I initially try orange terracotta and red terracotta and do blotches across the ground, but I change it to tuff and granite. This is a lot of your choices here. It's up to you what you want to try out, but so many things work out here. I do not recommend grass paths though. So we have all that, and you can see poplar logs going across here, a bridge over water. If there's caves nearby, do not flatten them, flood them instead and add bridges. And then we can go all across the biome with these. So hooray, we really made it feel like it's lived in, and we can even add lanterns onto the fallen tree stumps here. Be sure to not misplace your lanterns. Add benches, flora, things like that. And then we have our little shed here. This one is pretty easy to do, so let's just knock it out right here before going into the rest of our decoration. Weathered copper roof, your best choice. So we get that in its slab variant, and we're just going to build all across it. Don't forget to do the underside to make it look smooth, and now we have a shed. It's not a very important one, but still. We include a little bit of spruce and walls, things like that. And then we're going to put whatever we want under it. I make it simple and put a large log pile under it. Then we can add more bushes here. What you can do is dig down, place down a carpet above a lantern, like this, and then surround it in poplar leaves. Remember, orange carpet does match better with yellow poplar leaves than yellow carpet does. So now we have all that, and then we can add more things. Spruce, statues, of course that bridge there, tough bricks, and then some copper lanterns, and we have some poplar going across with a slab formation, and then we can hide firefly bushes here. As you can see, they're going to create lots of firefly particles around the build. You might want to place them on the surface though, otherwise they will be working during the day, and I found that to actually look kind of ridiculous. The bridge there, it is very uninteresting, but it adds something to the build because we did not flatten the area. And then of course don't forget about your coarse dirt, that log pile I was talking about, using rails to secure it down. Things like that really make your build feel lived in. And then we can even thicken up the stumps of our poplar trees. So you can see here, lots of stuff going on there. So I'd say we're almost done. But since we have an unfinished area, the back, let's continue decorating this build. This will be our back porch, and we're going to have some draped fabric over it in order to display the power of wool slabs. Remember, your best things are yellow and cyan in this biome, or light blue, it's up to you. But those complement the biome's aesthetic. So you can see here, very simple stuff. We just have some fabric draped down. You can imagine how to do this, just look at it and think about it, practice it a few times. We have a checkerboard of packed mud and brown terracotta. We have the bench here, nothing super interesting, just walls and fences and a way to get down. So that means this build is effectively finished. As you can see here, it's a very nice cozy dappled forest house. It uses a little bit more adventurous things than you'd expect, but it's fully functional and it's sure to last you for a very long time. Additionally, it even came with those things to help you connect to the other builds. So with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, it really helps me out. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw